You think you'll be listening to a portable in 10 years' time?
Me, I will. If he's still making music and it's good music. Because my own profession, like my whole identity is about discovering music.
Yeah.
So I discover music, but if Portable leaves the circuit of how to sell the music, he will leave the spotlight. If someone else replace him, they will.
Hi there. Welcome to Hits Don't Lie. Remember, if it's a hit, we would know it. On this show, we dissect music for what it really is. You know, the pluses, the minuses, the facts behind beats and all of that. And I'm your man, Manny. And as always, we have lovely guys who come through to help us to talk, say the truth for what it really is. And my guest today, this guy, how do I introduce this guy now? He's a multimedia journalist, whose works covers, fashion, music, lifestyle, you name it. And his works have actually hit the Rolling Stones, man. Like, that's a big one. He is Chinonso Ihekire. Did I get that right?
Almost.
Ihekire.
Yeah.
What's up now?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through, man.
All right, then.
I like your fashion sense, bro.
Oh, thank you. I just like to keep it.
I used to have dreads. My dreads were like this,
Oh,
Don't ask me what happened.
I would.
It's a long story, man.
It's fine.
Yeah, welcome to the show. So, man, we have to say the truth for what it is,
Yeah.
And for today, I would love us to talk about something that a lot of people don't really talk about in Nigeria. They don't really want to go there. The old school and the new school.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very broad spectrum of music.
I tell you.
And Nigeria, where I reached there, I want to know from you today. I want us to talk about it really. The old school and the new school. Which do you think is a better school and why? Or is there something like a better school? Because you find out that these days, we find a lot of musicians going back to the old school. Like it's the only school. I don't know that that's the case, yeah. But what do you think is the difference between the old Nigerian music and this one now? Do you think the old Nigerian music is better than the new Nigerian music? What do you think?
Honestly, I feel like the new one can be the best.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't just stamp my feet on either.
Okay.
Simply because as at the time where the old school was trying to be what it was, there was nothing ahead. That was all they had. They were in the present. So they were that good. They were characterized by a lot of features. The old school had really immersive sonic fusions. Like, these are people who toured abroad for their indigenous artistries. You have Haruna Ishola, when abroad was known for Apala music. You had Sosadebe Yosta, who was also known for his high life music. He even recorded an album, Kidu America. You had William Oyabo, although he didn't travel, but his music did. The Funkies. These people, in the sense of what determines a superstar or a hit artist, they successfully achieved some certain feats. Like, it's not easy right now to even tour abroad. Imagine doing it in the 80s. There was no social media.
True that. It was
true to help you to be easily discovered by tour organizer, the festival organizer. So
Facts.
You had to really have substance.
It was harder then, bro.
So they too had a lot of, Nigeria is still a young place as a concept, but regionally, a lot of music had been existing for a long time. And these people just knew those songs as what they were. And it's time to make music to export. They just had what they had and they sold it. I mean, over the course of my work, I've spoken to a lot of greats. I call them greats because if you have done it and you succeeded, you're a great. The last one I spoke to was Femi Kuti, and he's been doing this watching his father. A lot of people had been doing it at the same time his father was. So that's what he was used to. He knew the importance of touring.
Mm.
He knew the importance of keeping the musicality as original as possible.
Mm.
And he really liked.
I like how you put that thing, keeping the music original as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Is new school music doing that?
New school music per se.
Keeping it original, like what are we doing with the music now? Is it original?
I have no accurate answer for that because it's always based on the individual and the economic situation. Right now, music has become one of Nigeria's biggest economic exports. So nobody's just doing it only because they have the interest. If you're not even making money from it, it almost looks as if you're delusional. However, if you watch like adjacent scenes within the Nigerian music industry, they call some of them alternative. Once you're not understood easily, your alternatives, mass. Some of them, they find themselves unable to just sacrifice that originality for the trend. So they retreat from the spotlight. They take their time to understand your art. If you watch most of them, their backgrounds reflect rich musical trainings. I speak to some of them. Obamjira, he has Nigerian experience, but he really wanted to develop his musicality. He's in the UK right now. Teiwa, for instance, his father trained him, exposed him to jazz music, classical music, and all forms. And you can tell. There's the cavemen as well. One of them is literally one of the best drummers I've ever heard. He also studied music. This Made Kuti, the grandson of Fela, also went to the same school Fela went to study music. A lot of people like that. I even spoke to a guy recently. He's a gospel musician, goes by the name An Endless Ocean.
Yeah,
He also studied music. You can tell that once you have your roots in the music, you would always have that like debate or how original do I keep it? Because you can't really create trends.
But you said something. We struck a chord right now. You said something. You said that they kept the roots. That something about the classical superstars from back in the days, keeping the roots of their music. Right. Yeah. You can. They could define what they were playing. I mean, if you single out maybe Sonny Ade, you could say, okay, he's playing this or that. Yeah. Or if you single out the Shino Peters, he's playing maybe Fuji. You could single out them and tell what they're playing. Yeah. Right? But these guys, this new school acts, they don't want to single out what they're playing. They shy away from saying what they're playing. They say, oh, I'm doing fusion, for example. You know, has that not affected the longevity of music? When you look at the history of music itself, I play juju, I play akpala, and people who've been playing that play it for the longest. Fela played Afrobeat for the longest. But now I just interviewed an artist some days ago. He was saying, oh, I don't want to be in a box. You know, I'm mixing things. You understand? Has that affected the longevity of music and why maybe the new school sound doesn't stay as long as the old school sound? What do you think?
The idea of staying as long has changed simply because there are a lot of amplifiers now. You might not even need to have really substantial music to trend on TikTok these days, and your music will go viral. Any reason. However, keeping your music in the minds of people years after is one of the reasons I love hip hop, because once you really like a hip hop artist, even if they've not dropped music in 5 years, once they drop, you're going to listen. MI is trying to make a comeback record as at the time of this recording. So if that record comes back, best believe I'm not expecting something watered down. That's just because I connect with the music for its substance. And flipping back to what you asked or how you introduce it, the idea of naming your art is like birthing a child. If you don't name the child, anyone can name it for you. It's bad enough that a lot of Nigerian music is uncategorized. So Afrobeats, which was not even a name we gave fully. Yeah. But I'm grateful that they even used what we actually called it first, because Fela was bold enough to call it Afrobeat. And someone else who was, by the way, an African, but working in the UK.
Put the S.
Just put the S, because he just needed everybody to understand where this music is originating.
That's a problem. I think that's a problem.
it's not a problem if we don't have a problem with it. But if you look at reality, is there a problem? Like, are you happy to see the conflict in the award systems, the conflict in even trying to discover the music? So you don't even understand what sound this is like. However, no artist, a lot of music artists are originally versatile people.
Cool.
And if you're versatile enough, you could birth a hybrid of any sound. If you're noticing your music have a hybrid, identity, you can give it a name. It's like a man, I don't want to use specific genders, but it's like two individuals come together to create a child. They would give that child an identity, a name. That child is a hybrid of both. So if you're very versatile, I find you doing, and that's why most of the hit makers now, if you check, they're actually versatile people. They could sing, they could do the R&B, and it sounds really good.
But you see, Chinonso, I get you, but I'm just trying to figure out, when I look at history, when I look at what you're talking about is, at the end of the day, it's mixing, right?
Yeah.
So continually mixing is like alloy. You put two metals together, you mix it. The original one, it gets lost in transit. I mean, if you keep on mixing, like we're mixing all kinds of things now, So are you saying that, it's something that we can't avoid, we can't change? Because at the end of the day, when I look back in time, right, I think we were more original with the sound back then than even now. Because now I don't know what we're playing, bro. I don't know what I'm sorry, I don't know what we're playing because we're taking elements from everywhere, bro. Some people, and is that a good thing for the new school sound? Because, if I go to America, right, pop is pop. Rock is rock, man. R&B is R&B. Lofi pop is lofi pop. They just keep the essence. But right here in Nigeria, the new school sound, does it have a name, bro? Or is it cool that we're just dissolving into something that we don't even know what it is? Because I'm thinking maybe the old school, should have been where we came from. But where we are now, I don't know where we are. I don't know.
The old school was really different because the decentralization of social media has changed everything. If you notice, songs are shorter now. The shorter a song is, the more likelihood it has to achieve replay value.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
So if you want to make music now, best believe there's a part of your mind trying to guide you on how to make it for TikTok or for its PR value.
The social media effects. You are thinking many things before you make a song now.
Yes. So you're not meant to as an artist. I was observing within certain regions in Nigeria, certain artists are unknown. But there are certain artists that are known there and they can sell out 5,000 capacity venues, 10,000 capacity venues. Jerry sold a 22,000 capacity venue in Anambra or in Enugu. I don't want to mix the names. So within these places, people, real life human beings, if you go on the streets, they like these artists. So if you're making music, understanding that 22,000 people digitally playing your songs might seem like child's play. If you see 22K streams, what are you doing? But then 22,000 actual human beings watching your music will give you a different sense of confidence. Back in the day, the greats didn't have that delusion of numbers, digital numbers. They just had, I will make the music, I will go to 5 countries, I'll perform it to how many people see me. The broadcast media is there, they'll capture it and I'm good. They cared about the music more than now. So right now, it's going to be hard to force an artist to make music like the greats. He's not even in the same economic climate with the greats. Even as at then, the greats knew that they needed money to fund their music. William Oyabo was one of Nigeria's richest at the time musicians, though. He used a lot of synthesizers in his music. He made, till today, he's one of the few people who has experimented with funk and rock music and high life. He merged everything.
Do you think because I saw a story from Beyonce once that she was criticizing the new school album writers or creators that people no longer make albums like they used to back in the days.
Yeah.
For her to say that's a strong statement. Do you think she was coming from a place of where they were better songwriters then, or they were better storytellers, and now what you have is maybe you just have people who are just cruising? And what do you think? You think we had better writers back then? Were there better songwriters back then?
I feel like we had songwriters who chose substance back then.
Who chose substance, right? I think that's the word missing.
Yeah, a lot of people right now, I'm breaking down the reality, like a lot of people right now will not choose substance because they need to sell the music. I mean, the greats also had foreign companies backing their music. If you try to license any song by Celestin Uku right now, you're not going to his family. You're going to London. There was money to back the music, the tours. Then the few who could afford it on their own, who were able to create a structure for themselves, were able to sustain it. And that's why till today, the New Africa Shrine is a home for Afrobeats without the S, because that was a structure that the inventor had created, and he wanted to keep it consistent. Touring, performing your music, and all the other metrics that define a successful musician are important. They've just changed in how it can work now. You're going to be forcing an artist to work against his bread. However, there's just a small percentage of people that can separate their authenticity from everything around them that drives them to sell the music. So they're not creating music like a salesman. They're creating music like, this is my lived experiences. I want to embellish myself in this song you're going to hear. So when you hear, you feel it's a hit. You can tell joy is coming. If you don't drop that song when, to be honest, there's a lot of uncertainty in the month of January. Everyone was excited.
Okay, I got to ask you some very hard questions now, because I need to get your perspective of this stuff, yeah?
All right.
Okay, let me just try and paint another picture for you, yeah?
Okay.
So if you look at the early 2000s, right? The early 2000s, right? The songs by the artists in that time, when you hear them in clubs today, for example, like throwbacks, they cause chaos, bro. They still cause chaos.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 15 years ago, 20 years ago sound. They still cause chaos.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the same thing with the new school sound. When you hear it, it's almost as if it just dies after 6 months, after a year, and it doesn't cause that frenzy like the real throwbacks do. And then again, if you look at the artists, for example, I don't want to call Davido, Wizkid, and Burna Boy, they're not old school, but they're from another time, transcending into this time. And they are still in this time. Whereas the new school artists in this time are having to battle with them who are not from this time. So does it mean that the old school time, is more authentic? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
You are. And honestly, I've reflected on this thing many times. There's many types.
Well, they can think them out. They're not from this time. They're from that time.
Yeah.
But they're
playing the long game.
So what is the difference, man?
Okay, the secret to actually remaining long in the game is actually understanding your own rhythm, like your own cycle, it's better management of yourself. The artists on their own cannot manage their careers that long. They'll burn out. They need a great team that understands the season and the market. That's why they can make music. It's why you see some big names strategically collaborate. They know when to drop. And I respect an artist if you can create a hit, even if it's just one song every year. I mean, Cobams literally was on a song and he made that the song. And the song became a hit. Like Cobams sang it with lyrics. Give me one hit song.
Can you mention like 2 or 3 artists from this 2025 era that we're in now?
Yeah.
That in, say, 5-10 years from now, right, they will still be banging. Like, just give me a name, like 2 or 3 artists. Like I know there are a couple, but do you have any that come off your head right now that are banging right now that in 5-10 years they will still be banging?
If they don't create, like when I say they, if the tech forces in the world do not create any technology that disrupts the pattern of marketing music,
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
I feel like the names off the top of my head, Ojomodu Black, Ihekire, Rema,
Okay.
Ira, Thames, they are positioned to keep scaling because they have great teams. Not everybody might want to remain in a great team, Sha, but they have great teams.
They have great teams.
They have great content.
They have positions.
And they enjoy the whole circuit of being a musician. They enjoy it from the recording, or rather the ideation process, to the recording, to the performance. They are always they've made music like really their personality. Those people will last. A few other names could come up. You could have really authentic songs. Like if anybody listens to you, they know that you'll
be hearing
him.
You think you'll be listening to a Portable in 10 years' time?
Me, I will. If he's still making music and it's good music. Because my own profession, like my whole identity is about discovering music.
Yeah.
So I discover music, but if Portable leaves the circuit of how to sell the music, he will leave the spotlight. If someone else replace him, they will. But that guy's an interesting guy, though. He fights for his fame. He doesn't let them give it to him on the platter. He will come to your spotlight.
You know what's even happening now? You see lots of Nigerian musicians going back to the old libraries.
Yeah.
You see, like Davido was even recently talking about how he took sample elements from other artists are going back to, the old libraries to dig up content and bring it back now.
Yeah.
Maybe new school artists, are they some sort of like maybe brain drained of content or what to write about, what to sing about?
I love that word. Brain
Is that what it is?
It's like, yes, there is like a vacuum of motivation. Everyone is almost motivated by the same thing right now. So if an Amapiano jam is like causing chaos, like you said in the club, you're likely going to think of Amapiano or using log drums in your music production because you want to create something that everybody will dance to and they will like. But sorry, you can't create trends that way. When Legwork came out, like Zanku, when that song came out, like there's been a lot of eras before that. So what was the inspiration? You can borrow from the past, but you also have to find a new way to bring it to life. And if you borrow intelligently, it's going to hit. That with you that Davido was talking about, for example, Bright Chimeze, he knows that Davido, I've noticed he really likes high life, or he does well on high life songs. Because the other song with Caveman, he actually vocalized it well. It's not even about who wrote it. He can write it, he can sing it. However, he can perform it well. So like if I hear you make good songs, I know that it's even Beyonce, not everyone will write it, but when she sings it, she sang it because she's Beyonce and you can't sing like Beyonce. So if you can borrow well from the past, you can make anything. Because even the past used to borrow from the past.
Oh yeah, you got that right though. Yeah. Right. So if you have to go to a concert, to watch an artist now, like you really want to go out and see an artist now, and you have a lineup of the old school acts and the new school acts, you had just one choice. Would you go? Which one would you go for?
Are you asking me as me? You're asking me as...
No, I mean, as a music lover, you
I go for the new.
You go for the new school.
Yeah.
All right.
However, I will not just go for any new school. There are certain new school artists that are really intelligent musicians. Like when they make music, you will listen. They don't need to know you before. But if I see the lineup and the crop of artists I'm seeing there are people that won't give me shock value in their music, I will go to the greats who I know that there's shock value here, but it's old music.
What can the new school artists learn from the old school artists and to make better their craft? I mean, there are also things you can learn from them. What can
Yeah. Are you asking for names?
No, what can they learn from? I mean, what is in the craft that they can learn from to make them better artists from old school? What can they learn from there?
Function first of all. That's how I see it. Old school artists were not scared to be versatile because they knew that every song had an audience and has a reason. So it was interesting for them, like, to make party songs and it's a band, and make wedding songs and it's a band, and make introspective songs or songs that in today's world we call Afro Adura or motivational music, it's a bang. It's just knowing when to use what. So if you watch their habits, how they even create music, every great artist has a unique creative process, which helps them, because music and art in general is a mirror of your life. So if you're not living life or experiencing things, you might not really make music that is authentic or will sound authentic.
If we did a versus on Instagram,
Yeah.
old school Niger, new school Niger, who would win?
Right now,
Seriously, bro, we did like
the old school will win.
Like what percentage, man? Give me a percentage. Like
The old school win,
knockout.
but are they ready to fight that fight? They will win because these are people who have succeeded in remaining relevant. For you to even know them today, it means they really did their work well. There was no social media back then, and you still know about them. It means their music can stand the test of time. The new school are creating trends. So many hits will die out in a year. So many hits will just perform within a certain market. They can't cross over. However, the old school knew how to just keep it fresh, and they also had the right backing to sell it abroad. The new school have the backing to sell it abroad.
Mention like 3 old school artists that you know, or there's 3 old school acts that you know. If they ever wanted to come back now, there's an audience waiting for them. They'll come back hard, man. You know, 3 old school names that if you know they came back now today, they'll bang.
Have they not been trying? But do they have the energy for it?
Yeah, but there could be a few names out there that haven't come back, you know. But
They, in my own opinion, they cannot bang in the sense of banging and be competing fame with the new school right now. But they would bang in a way that you remember why they were even great before. That's how I see. Like this share. I'm trying to correctly remember the name. Love Me JJ.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Subaba has not even figured out and he doesn't want to stop yet.
He's not going to stop.
Those people, they are making hits that in 20 years, nobody is touching. Asha can come back with any album, any year, and it will still bang.
Can Nice make a full comeback?
Nice, if Nice wants to not play nice with the music, he'll come back with it. Because there was a reason Nice could sing in Yoruba and you will listen. I don't speak Yoruba, but if I listen to Nice, I feel like, bro, that's interesting music. It's the same way people cannot really understand every language in the world, but when you hear a good song, you know a good song. So Nice can make a great comeback album. It's just that, you know, the industry now, once you're in it, you need to give time to rest. You need to give time for your life. If you make your life a sacrificial lamb, you make great music, but you end up being that lonely person with like 100 cats and no family. Some people don't even need to get married to feel that sense of family. Some people just find family in many things, but you need to have a life to even make music. So if you understand that trend, a lot of the greats knew when to step away from the spotlight to recharge, come back with like better content. They knew when to stop. They knew when to retire.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, anybody watching this show now, you know, who is maybe an artist, for example,
Yeah.
you know, and is listening to the content and wondering to himself, what can I do to make myself better so that I don't die off quickly? What would you tell the artist now?
First of all, man, if you don't have the financial backing, go get a job or an income source. Because you can't create music
No, you can't. Yeah.
if you're really like out grinded. If I use that, if you're really broke, you can't make good music all the time because you need to finance your life. And when you can get an income source, be real with yourself. Like the facade of being in the social media, the celebrity life can and will really distract you. Step away from the spotlight time to time and make music. And if you've not even made a hit yet, but you know in your heart that your songs are great, keep creating them. Because Ihekire and Mudumu Black, for instance, have been making music for a long time. There are some songs that Ihekire dropped recently that he had recorded while he was a student at OAU, but we're not ready. The world wasn't ready for it. So if you're creating great music, keep creating the great music with the idea of It's only really good. That's why I'm saying it's only really good that can determine a hit, because you can have even the money to push your music, but at the end of the day, you find yourself struggling to compete with people who you feel more talented than. At the end of the day, it just boils down to if it's your time, if it's your time. Well, you can, today, I'm happy that you can make money off music if you're doing it right. I know some artists that are just in France, some in all across Europe. They are not as popular as that Portable you mentioned. But the bags that they are seeing on a monthly basis, they're making money from even licensing deals, just creating music for film, and they're happy. That's the bottom line.
Right. You know what? I think I'll see you in like 10 years' time and see if you're right. But you mentioned Rema, you mentioned the guys that you will still be watching in 10 years from now.
I can beat my chest that if Rema and these other people do not change their template or get carried away by the industry, they can keep remaining relevant. Because that's why I really listen to a lot of greats. If you check my liked songs, I consume their music because they are melodic. High life itself is a very melodic genre, and I enjoy it. Fuji, Juju music, Apala, even to them, Terry Apala was not trying to create fusions of it. The younger generations really connect. There's new culturally like vibrant musicians these days, Wizard Chan, like people like that are making music that really reflects their culture and identity, and they can cross over. It's just depending on if you wrap your head around the economic factors of Afrobeats or any music industry, you know that it's a game of opinion and conscience.
Well, you said it. You said you're down with the old school, you're down with the new school, not the old school. How you phrase it? You're down with the new school, not the old school.
I'm a lover of innovation, but I would not blindly support anything that trends. Like the old school really had source because most of them were creating stuff with substance. You don't understand that as a journalist, you're in the middle. Even the songs that I reviewed for Rolling Stone, whereby the Les Amazons d'Afrique, they're a West African collective. These people are people you will not understand their language. They sing in Bambara, they sing in Ewe, they sing in Bete, different languages in Mali. However, the West are interested in discovering original sounds. That's their interest right now. They're not interested in discovering people that sound like them already.
Repete. The West is into discovering original sound.
Yes.
He's new school original.
Not everybody, but if you are, because I know them, that's what I would say. The mass, even the oversaturation of Amapiano is a strong indicator that a lot of people right now are just following the trend. Like only a few are stepping back.
What is the trend, bro? Like, I'm listening to, I'm listening to the sounds coming out of people's albums and bodies of work. I'm listening to sorry to say it to you, I love what they're doing. I love what Davido is doing. I love what Bono is doing. They're trying to branch out and expand their sound, right? But, it's original. Is it charting a course where at the end of the day, what we're going to get is Afrobeats dead? I mean, where we're going now, we're going to, the course, how we're moving now is that the future is Afrobeat will die.
It's a good reason to be scared because we're really not creating structure. We're not retaining that source that made us. We're even shy about it. That's why you see a lot of African artists shy to even be African. You can have a mixture of influences. You can even speak like people from the West. You can dress like them. You can blend among them, but when you're creating art, you need to reflect where you're from. And a lot of people right now are creating hybrids that are more dominantly Western. And I will still that's why I listen to Sheyi Vibes till tomorrow. Sheyi Vibes is one of the few musicians who would listen to Travis Scott and still listen to Haruna Ishola and enter the studio and create a hybrid. As you hear a song like Shaolin, and you'll be like, what are you saying? What is Shaolin? Shaolin is even an Asian concept. But Sheyi Vibes, when I spoke to him during his homecoming concert at his house, I could observe from his personality that this person is really a focused or a really musical artist. Like they are really ingrained in the work. However, they need to sell the work. So they know that we will pander to when you dress like Travis. We will pander to when you make music that sounds as funky as Travis. It's not bad. That's how I see it. I just feel like it's an exchange. It's a cultural exchange. The West are looking to discover us. We too are looking to discover the West. So it's how do you balance it in your music so that if you're creating a song, it does not sound so watered down for your own regional audience. When Davido got his record deal with Sony that his father had to buy him out of, when Wizkid was trying to cross over to the West as well, you know, they created some songs that didn't cross over here and they didn't cross over there. And that's why I always say, if you want to cross over all around the world, cross over at home first. Once you can do it, once your home people like you, the world will love you.
No offense, so we're just speaking the truth. And we want your honest opinion about what we're talking about. Which school do you think had it better? The old school or the new school? Drop a comment in the comment section. Let's know your thoughts on the conversation. And keep it going, because this conversation will be finished. You understand?
Yes,
so think about it. Don't go away. We'll be back soon. Nice one, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm old school, bro. I'm old school.